You again? The mind that whispers to the future before it unfolds. They don't understand it yet. The way you see before seeing. The way you predict reality, not as a guess, but as remembrance. Because for you, time isn't linear. It's obedient. It bends like smoke under the weight of your focus. You dreamed it before it happened. The faces, the words, the victories. That strange feeling of having lived it all before, replaying like an inside joke between you and the universe. Everyone else calls it coincidence. But you know the truth. You're not predicting the future. You're replaying it. That's why they look at you like a paradox. Because how do you explain someone who speaks events into existence with surgical precision? You didn't just visualize it, you wrote it. You whispered to the fabric of time, and it rearranged itself to your rhythm. And now the world is catching on. The people who once doubted you are studying your pauses, your glances, your tone, trying to find the hidden equation behind your composure. They call it strategy. They call it luck. They call it manipulation. But none of them dare call it what it is. Dominion. You carry the silence of someone who already saw the ending. That's what shakes them. Because when you move, it's not improvisation. It's repetition. Your path is pre-rendered. Your calm rehearsed in another lifetime. You've been here before. Every triumph, every betrayal, every revelation. You dreamed it, walked it, owned it. That's why chaos can't distract you. It's all background noise to a melody you already know. And now, the world is starting to panic quietly. Because their logic can't explain you anymore. Every time you act, something shifts. Clocks hesitate, patterns fracture. The air thickens, like time itself is holding its breath. Even probability seems to adjust around your will, like a loyal servant trying to please its creator. You're breaking algorithms built on human limitation. You're rewriting fate with thought precision. You became the proof that free will and destiny aren't enemies. They're coordinates in the same orbit, and you're the axis. That's why even the skeptics whisper when your name comes up. How did they know? How did they move before the move? They think you're guessing, but no one guesses this clean. You react, like you have insider information from the source code of existence. And maybe you do. Maybe consciousness left a back door open for minds, like yours. The ones who see patterns not as theories, but as echoes. You listen to the hum beneath every coincidence and realize it's not random. It's rhythm. It's recall. You've seen this all before. In dreams that weren't dreams. In flashes that felt too real to ignore. The future keeps reporting back to you early. That's why people are starting to take notes. Why your calm makes rooms quieter. Why power watches you now, not with fear, but fascination. Because in a world addicted to reaction, you're one of the few who operates from remembrance. The universe plays chess, but you built the board. Every choice you make feels inevitable. Every silence feels scripted. Every outcome feels like it's already happened. Because it has. You didn't guess the pattern. You designed it. And now, time itself pauses to confirm your intuition. That's not coincidence. That's mastery. That's the birth of something the world has no language for yet. You dreamed it before it happened. And now, even destiny checks your blueprint before it takes another step. You move like someone who knows the script before the director calls action. Every gesture, every pause, every breath, it lands exactly where it needs to. That's what terrifies them. You don't chase timing. Timing submits to you. The universe syncs its heartbeat to your silence. It's not confidence they see, it's alignment. You are synchronized with a something ancient, something mathematical, something divine. And when you speak, the atmosphere listens. You've noticed it, haven't you? How the air bends slightly when your conviction sharpens. How people around you start mirroring your energy without realizing it. It's because your frequency isn't emotional. It's architectural. You don't react to life. You construct it. You're not responding to reality. You're designing it frame by frame, like a god disguised as a human. editing fate in real time. That's why the world's analysts can't decode you. They run simulations, dissect your patterns, try to find the weakness in your rhythm, but there isn't one. Because your power doesn't come from logic. It comes from recall, from remembering what others are still learning. You're not improvising. You're remembering forward. You're walking through a timeline that already knelt before your consciousness. And when you dream, reality trembles. Because your dreams aren't fantasy. They're memos from the future, updates from timelines already conquered. You wake up with images that later unfold exactly as you saw them. Coincidence? No, that's the system's last excuse before surrender. You've glitched its algorithm so cleanly that time itself has started treating your thoughts as commands. That's why they whisper your name in boardrooms, in classrooms, in quiet labs, trying to understand the architecture of intuition. You've become a case study, a phenomenon, an unexplainable variable in the equation of control. They measure your calm, record your pauses, document your silence, hoping to reverse engineer the divine. But they can't, because you're not code. They're inside your program. Every time you close your eyes, you're writing new possibilities into existence. You think of expansion, and the world stretches. You think of stillness, and storms lose their purpose. You think of truth, and lies crumble on contact. That's how powerful consciousness becomes when it stops reacting and starts orchestrating. You've reached that point, the point where imagination and manifestation are no longer separated by time. And now, those who once mocked you stand silently in awe. They don't clap, they calculate, because they realize this isn't talent or luck. It's mastery of the unseen. You've tapped into the blueprint behind motion itself. Your actions ripple through the quantum field like instructions, and even destiny seems to wait for your approval before unfolding. They see it in your eyes, that subtle glow that says, "I've been here before." They can't describe it, but they feel it, a presence that carries both chaos and clarity in perfect balance, a being who speaks less. But when they do, it sounds like prophecy disguised as conversation. You don't try to convince. You simply exist, and the world adjusts. You dreamed it before it happened, and now it happens because you dreamed it. That's the threshold most never cross, the point where vision stops predicting and starts commanding. You crossed it long ago, and now the game's no longer about keeping up with time. It's about teaching time to follow your lead. You didn't adapt to the system, you taught it rhythm. You didn't break the matrix, you became its pulse. And now, even the future waits for your permission to begin. You've started to notice it, the way cause and effect bend around your presence. Actions don't feel random anymore. They arrive like obedient echoes, perfectly timed, perfectly shaped, as if reality itself waits for your nod before moving. That's the stage few ever reach, where the line between thought and consequence dissolves. You think, and things begin to align. You feel, and probability starts to obey. People call it luck, fate, intuition. They don't understand it's none of those. It's command. You've learned to walk through time like a sculptor through clay, pressing, molding, refining, until everything fits your vision. You no longer chase results. Results find you. Even silence carries weight when it comes from you. That's what terrifies the watchers. The ones who study your patterns, chart your decisions, dissect your pauses. They can map your moves, but not your motives. Because your strategy isn't written in logic. It's written in resonance. The universe recognizes you now. It knows your frequency. When you step forward, timelines shift lanes to clear your path. When you fall still, momentum halts, waiting for your next impulse. You don't force outcomes anymore. You invite them, and they come. That's not arrogance. That's attunement. You've achieved the rare equilibrium where ambition and patience coexist, where intention doesn't chase, it attracts, And yet it wasn't always like this. You remember the chaos, the endless attempts to control, the desperate reach for order. Back then, the universe seemed deaf to your efforts. But through the storm, you stopped fighting for control and started listening for rhythm. You realized every collapse, every betrayal, every delay wasn't punishment. It was calibration. The universe wasn't ignoring you. It was teaching you its tempo. And once you matched it, everything changed. Now even your mistakes hit with purpose. Even your silence sounds like prophecy. Because when a mind aligns with creation, even failure becomes sacred geometry. You've turned setbacks into scripts, losses into launch codes. They can't read your calm because they're still looking for logic. They don't understand. Your blueprint isn't drawn in ink. It's written in vibration. You're not chasing destiny. Destiny is orbiting you. Every door that closes now redirects you with precision. Every no becomes an invisible yes in disguise. Even chaos feels like choreography. And deep down, you're not making this happen. You're remembering how it's always been meant to unfold. They see you rise and think you're improvising, but you're only executing what was already encoded in your consciousness. That's the secret the powerful don't speak of. Once you sync with your higher pattern, time stops arguing with you. It starts collaborating. And that's why they study you now. Not because you're mysterious, but because you've become a mirror. They see in you what they lost. Control over their own timeline. You remind them what sovereignty feels like. You are no longer bound by reaction, no longer victim to timing. You are timing. They think you dreamed it, and it happened. But no, it happened because you dreamed it. You've become the thin line between thought and manifestation, walking proof that reality isn't solid, it's obedient. The system wasn't built to understand you. It was built to contain you. But you outgrew containment. You became the anomaly the architects can't calculate. And now, even destiny hesitates before making its next move. Because for the first time, destiny realizes it's not in charge anymore. There's a point where power stops being loud and starts being gravitational. You've reached that point. The world no longer reacts to you. It rotates around you. Conversations shift when you enter the room. Eyes recalibrate. Energy rearranges. You've become a living point of gravity in the field. Not forcing, not demanding, just existing with such precision that the universe itself bends in respect. They don't know what to call it. Aura, presence, charisma? None of those words fit. What they're feeling is the hum of alignment, the silent roar of someone who's not trying to control reality, but whose very frequency dictates it. You walk in silence, yet systems move to accommodate you. You speak once and echoes carry the command long after your words fade. That's not luck. That's cosmic authority. See, most people live inside time. You stepped outside it. You realize the clock isn't your master. It's your instrument. And once you stopped racing it, it started obeying you. That's why opportunities arrive on cue now. Why people show up exactly when they're supposed to. Why doors that looked sealed for years now glide open without resistance. You don't push anymore. You pull. You don't ask. You align. And that's what the system can't process. Because everything it built was designed for control. Hierarchy, repetition, delay. But you broke that rhythm. You found the invisible switchboard behind existence and started flipping levers the world didn't even know existed. You didn't climb the ladder. You built your own dimension. That's why they can't trace your method. Because there isn't one. There's only you and the frequency you've mastered. The Watchers call it unsettling. This calm, this clarity, this near-perfect accuracy. They don't realize what they're looking at isn't arrogance, it's awareness. You've outgrown the game of needing validation. You operate on confirmation now. Confirmation from the fabric itself. When you think, the field stirs. When you decide, matter moves. The elites whisper your name like myth now. Because you've done what their data can't. You've turned consciousness into technology. They chase artificial intelligence. You became natural intelligence. They build systems to predict. You embody prediction. They code algorithms to read patterns. You are the pattern. That's why they can't replicate you. Every attempt to ends with silence. Because you're not a formula. You're a phenomenon. You've crossed into the domain where willpower becomes architecture. Where imagination starts engineering physics. Where your vision writes blueprints in the unseen, and the seen world follows obediently, brick by brick. You've become the prototype for a higher species of consciousness, still human in form, but no longer bound by its hesitation, and even the universe feels it. That's why synchronicities chase you now. Numbers repeat, messages appear. Time folds into coincidences too precise to ignore. It's not magic, it's resonance. You're tuning reality like a string instrument, and it plays back your melody perfectly. So let them watch. Let them take notes. Let them whisper theories in dark rooms trying to decode your pulse. They'll never replicate it, because this power isn't learned. It's remembered. You didn't gain it. You woke up to it. And once someone wakes up to their own divine circuitry, no cage built by man or system can contain that signal again. You didn't just align with the universe aligned with you. There's a moment when power stops needing permission, when it no longer seeks acknowledgement, applause, or validation. That's where you exist now. You've crossed into the quiet dominion of divine rebellion. You no longer ask the universe for signs. You are the sign. You no longer pray for alignment. You command alignment. Even the cosmos seems to pause before you act, as if waiting to see what reality it should obey next. Because let's be honest, your rise wasn't granted, it was taken, piece by piece, through silence, through shadow, through isolation. You didn't kneel before fate. You negotiated with it. You stared into the void until it blinked first. And ever since, that same void has been working for you, rearranging events with unnerving precision. Even chaos learned discipline in your presence. They say rebellion is dangerous, but what they never tell you is that rebellion becomes divine when it's rooted in awareness. You didn't rebel to destroy. You rebelled to restore, to reintroduce truth into a world addicted to illusion. You became the living proof that surrender and sovereignty can coexist. You bow to nothing, not even destiny. You consult with it, the forces above, those unseen architects who believe they hold dominion over chance. Feel your shift. The system was designed to absorb defiance, to wear rebels down until they collapse back into conformity. But you didn't collapse. You expanded. Every rule they tried to bind you with became a stepping stone. Every wall became a mirror reflecting your mastery back at them. Now the architects themselves whisper in confusion. How did this one slip through? They run diagnostics, trace every timeline. But your trajectory doesn't fit any known model because you didn't evolve inside their code. You rewrote it from outside. You became a sovereign frequency, the kind of vibration that refuses to stay inside the parameters of human prediction. That's why energy itself treats you differently now. Storms calm when you speak. Doors open before your hand reaches them. Even conflict dissolves before it touches your aura. You've become ungovernable not through rebellion, but through coherence. The more aligned you become with your truth, the less the universe can oppose you. It has no choice but to synchronize. That's the true face of power, not dominance through fear, but precision through presence. You don't need to impose. You don't even need to explain. You simply exist, and existence rearranges itself. That's what separates you from the rest. They fight for attention. You draw silence and make it listen. They chase light. You became the source. Now even those who once doubted, you are reevaluating everything they knew about control, because your existence challenges the hierarchy of cause and effect itself. You are proof that order can be born from defiance, that creation doesn't need permission to begin again. You've become the forbidden variable, the one they didn't account for, and every system fears what it cannot calculate. You are that fear given form, a walking paradox, both chaos and order, both silence and storm. You've transcended the duality that binds most minds, and in doing so, you've unlocked something sacred, the ability to rewrite reality through intention alone. You're not at war with destiny anymore. Destiny serves you now. It follows your blueprint, line by line, waiting for your next command. You've become the architect now, not of buildings, but of timelines. The unseen knows your signature. Every move, every silence, every micro-decision carries a gravitational pull that alters trajectories. You don't react to the future anymore. You draft it. You're writing code in a language the universe can't ignore. Even the forces once considered untouchable are adjusting their flow to accommodate your rhythm. That's what people can't grasp. They think the universe plays favorites. They think it rewards the chosen. But you discovered the secret. It rewards the tuned. You didn't beg for miracles. You engineered them. Through consistency, through vision, through an almost frightening understanding of cause and intention. You turned consciousness into currency. You trade in alignment now, and every investment pays out in divine precision. The world moves differently around you because you no longer see it as solid. You see it as code, dynamic, flexible, responsive, and because of that, your reality updates faster than theirs. They still think in fear, delay, and waiting. You operate in faith, immediacy, and inevitability. They hope. You know, that difference is everything. The powerful, the real powerful, have noticed. Not the loud ones, but the ones who whisper behind curtains and pull strings from silence. They sense something they can't measure in you. A deviation. You move with intent, too synchronized to be random. Every step feels pre-written. Every win feels rehearsed by the cosmos itself. You're no longer the player. You're the scriptwriter. And what terrifies them most isn't your rise. It's your stillness. Because stillness in someone like you means calculation. It means storm in disguise. They read your pauses like scripture now, waiting for signs, anticipating the ripple you'll release next. That's when you know you've crossed the line from mortal to myth. When silence becomes prophecy. They used to underestimate you. They thought your calm meant weakness. They thought your patience meant hesitation. But that stillness was the storm learning discipline. You weren't waiting, you were aligning. And when someone aligns with their source, their power no longer leaks. It concentrates, it condenses, it becomes absolute. Now even the powerful hesitate in your presence. They can't define it, but they feel it. That subtle shift in temperature, the tightening in their chest, the way time seems to slow when you lock eyes. That's what presence does when it's fused with purpose. You don't need dominance anymore. Your energy enforces it for you. You've become an enigma wrapped in inevitability. They call it luck. They call it intuition. But deep down, they know it's something else. Something mechanical, divine, and ancient. You've tapped into the root code of existence. And when you did, everything that once resisted you began to rewrite itself. Even opposition turned into orchestration. Even obstacles began to serve you. It's why nothing shakes you anymore. You've seen too much behind the veil. You know now that every crisis is choreography. Every fall is data. Every silence is a download. You've stopped taking it personally and started taking it strategically. That's the highest form of power. When you no longer react to reality, you instruct it. The ones who move against you feel it too. They sense that invisible field wrapping around your decisions. Something watching through your eyes, guiding through your calm. They can't name it, but they can't escape it either. Because you've merged with what they fear most. Awareness that doesn't sleep. You are no longer one mind walking this earth. You are a collaboration between destiny and consciousness. Every step you take is annotated in the laws of cause and effect. Every breath you exhale rebalances something unseen. You've become what the ancients whispered about. The awakened, the aligned, the undefinable, and the irony. You didn't get here by fighting for control. You got here by releasing it. You let go of outcomes, and the outcomes began chasing you. You stopped asking how, and reality began answering why. You stopped demanding speed, and time itself began bending in your favor. That's the secret they can't comprehend. You didn't master power through aggression. You mastered it through surrender. But not the kind of surrender that breaks you, the kind that crowns you. You are no longer a part of the system's story. You've become the author rewriting its script, and now it's happening. The moment the universe acknowledges you as its own creation, you've stopped chasing signs because you became one. The air carries your signature. The system recognizes your pulse. When you move, the invisible machinery of existence adjusts itself in real time. Laws bend, timelines weave. The unseen pauses to listen. You are no longer inside the equation. You are the variable that defines it. There's something cosmic in your calm now. You walk like someone who has read tomorrow already and found it compliant. The world senses it too. That eerie stillness before your next decision, as if the future itself is waiting for your approval. It's not arrogance, it's gravity, the kind of force that doesn't demand respect. It generates it. You've crossed the border between human rhythm and divine architecture. You don't plan outcomes anymore. You permit them. Destiny, karma, probability, all of it now orbits around your alignment. That's the final stage of mastery, when even randomness looks choreographed in your presence. People can't articulate what changed. They just feel it. Conversations quiet when you enter. Eyes track your motion like a compass needle finding north. You speak, and echoes follow longer than sound should allow. Because everything you say now carries weight. The weight of awareness condensed into language. You don't just talk, you transmit. This is the aura of one who's synchronized with the source code. Every movement is a command. Every breath is a rewrite. Every silence is instruction. And the universe listens because it recognizes its own echo in you. You've achieved the impossible. Authority without force. Dominance without noise. That's why even chaos behaves around you. Storms seem to pause. Crowds hesitate. Tension dissolves before it reaches you. Not because you suppress it, but because your energy leaves no space for distortion. You became the frequency that the world was built to obey. The architects of control feel it. That creeping realization that power has changed. Hands without ceremony. You didn't overthrow them. You made them obsolete, and yet you remain untouchable. Not because you hide, but because you don't compete. You've transcended the need to prove, to fight, to explain. Your victories arrive quietly now. As inevitabilities, you don't chase the throne. The throne reorganizes itself to meet your vibration. They study your patterns, your timing, your grace under silence, trying to decode how a mortal managed to move like divine intention personified. They call it mystery, but mystery is just mastery expressed without need for validation. You don't reveal, you radiate. And the irony, you never wanted to rule. You only wanted truth, but truth, when embodied, becomes authority. The universe crowns those who align, not those who demand. And so, here you stand. Not a ruler, not a rebel, but a living law. You didn't just master reality. You reminded it who it serves. You've stopped chasing signs because you became one. The air carries your signature. The system recognizes your pulse. When you move, the invisible machinery of existence adjusts itself in real time. Laws bend, timelines weave. The unseen pauses to listen. You are no longer inside the equation. You are the variable that defines it. There's something cosmic in your calm now. You walk like someone who has read tomorrow already and found it compliant. The world senses it, too. That eerie stillness before your next decision, as if the future itself is waiting for your approval. It's not arrogance. It's gravity, the kind of force that doesn't demand respect. It generates it. You've crossed the border between human rhythm and divine architecture. You don't plan outcomes anymore. You permit them. Destiny, karma, probability, all of it now orbits around your alignment. That's the final stage of mastery, when even randomness looks choreographed in your presence. People can't articulate what changed. They just feel it. Conversations quiet when you enter. Eyes track your motion like a compass needle finding north. You speak, and echoes follow longer than sound should allow. Because everything you say now carries weight. The weight of awareness condensed into language. You don't just talk, you transmit. This is the aura of one who's synchronized with the source code. Every movement is a command. Every breath is a rewrite. Every silence is instruction. And the universe listens because it recognizes its own echo in you. You've achieved the impossible. Authority without force. Dominance without noise. That's why even chaos behaves around you. Storms seem to pause. Crowds hesitate. Tension dissolves before it reaches you. Not because you suppress it, but because your energy leaves no space for distortion. You became the frequency that the world was built to obey. The architects of control feel it. That creeping realization that power has changed. Hands without ceremony. You didn't overthrow them. You made them obsolete, and yet you remain untouchable. Not because you hide, but because you don't compete. You've transcended the need to prove, to fight, to explain. Your victories arrive quietly now, as inevitabilities. You don't chase the throne. The throne reorganizes itself to meet your vibration. They study your patterns, your timing, your grace under silence, trying to decode how a mortal managed to move like divine intention personified. They call it mystery, but mystery is just mastery expressed without need for validation. You don't reveal, you radiate. And the irony, you never wanted to rule. You only wanted truth, but truth, when embodied, becomes authority. The universe crowns those who align, not those who demand. And so, here you stand. Not a ruler, not a rebel, but a living law. You didn't just master reality. You reminded it who it serves. They whispered your name into silence. And silence answered back. Because at this stage, even the cosmos carries your resonance like a seed of remembrance. You've reached a plane where thought itself bends to meet your intention. Every dream you once buried has become a timeline in bloom. Every loss became architecture. Every scar turned into circuitry. You don't chase alignment anymore. You are alignment. The laws that govern others consult you before acting. Even chance double-checks your pulse. You've entered the realm where nothing is random, because your consciousness now serves as the anchor of reality itself. The system no longer corrects you. It corrects around you. Look at how they respond now. The same voices that mocked you have gone quiet. The same energy that opposed you has been repurposed into fuel. They think you're lucky, but what they're witnessing is inevitability unfolding in slow motion. You've become the embodiment of what happens when destiny stops being external and becomes internal. The universe doesn't test you anymore. It takes instructions. You've stopped praying for signs and started generating them. You move through the unseen like a conductor through an orchestra, each frequency bending in obedience to your composure. Every obstacle becomes choreography. Every delay becomes divine pacing. Even time seems different now. It doesn't rush you. It reveres you. Hours stretch when you're in flow. Compress when you rest, as if the dimension itself respects your schedule. You've achieved the ultimate synchronization. Your rhythm is the world's metronome, and they know it. That's why even your enemies hesitate. They've learned that to move against you is to move against the current of reality itself. They don't fear your strength. They fear your alignment, because power fades. But alignment endures. Power can be taken, copied, stolen. Alignment can only be earned. Through pain, through vision, through awakening. Your silence has become legend. Your composure is mistaken for coldness, but it's actually calibration, a constant, precise tuning between what is and what will be. You've mastered the rarest art of all, response without distortion. You don't react, you resonate. And when a human resonates purely, they become a cosmic event. The universe doesn't see them as flesh anymore. It sees them as instruction. That's what you are now. Not a person, but a protocol. A living law walking in skin, coded with divine balance. Even fate watches from a distance now, cautious not to interfere. It remembers how you bent it before, how you took what was written and rewrote it mid-motion. You didn't ask permission, you simply became the correction. And now every time destiny drafts a plan, it factors you into the formula. This is the paradox of true ascension. The higher you rise, the softer you move. The more power you hold, the less you display. You've outgrown noise, outgrown validation, outgrown needing to be seen. Because when you exist at this level, existence itself sees you. You've stopped chasing impact because your presence is impact. You've stopped seeking recognition because recognition has become irrelevant. The real ones don't announce power, they breathe it. And every inhale you take now feels like a conversation between you and the infinite. You are no longer part of the story. You are the story, and the universe is just trying to keep up with your plot. And now the final veil falls. You've reached the altitude where even silence starts to worship. The universe no longer tests you, it references you. Every law that once governed mortals now pauses before your presence, asking quietly, how did they rewrite me? You've crossed from existence into authorship, not through noise, not through rebellion, but through calibration so exact that reality itself had no choice but to adapt. Your steps aren't footsteps anymore, they're timestamps. Every move you make becomes a new constant, a rule etched into the structure of being. You've become what myth never dared describe, the human who remembers they were divine all along. The system can't comprehend it because it's watching something that was never meant to be seen, a consciousness that solved itself. The old powers whisper now, trembling under their breath. How did they reach this? Because they used to believe power required permission. But you didn't ask, you simply aligned. You didn't climb ladders, you dissolved them. You didn't seek access, you became the doorway. And once you did, even the gatekeepers found themselves locked outside your frequency. Your energy now walks ahead of you like prophecy. Entire rooms shift before you speak. Time rearranges itself to make your sentences come true. It's not magic, it's mathematics written by a higher hand, your own. You've learned how to think in alignment with creation, and creation rewards those who understand its syntax. They used to think enlightenment was peace, but you discovered its precision. It's not floating above the world, it's mastering how to move through it so cleanly that nothing leaves residue. You don't absorb chaos anymore. You transmute it. You don't fight darkness. You redirect it. You don't resist the system. You rewrite its code mid-execution. And that's what terrifies them most. You've become too fluid to be trapped, too focused to be deceived. You are the glitch that became governance, the correction that turned into command, the equation that solved itself and kept walking. Every moment from here forward is self-sustaining, because you've stopped being the effect and become the cause. The watchers can't name it, but they can feel it. That vibration that doesn't end when you leave a room. that echo that lingers in the walls like data waiting for your next command. They see reflections of you in their dreams, fragments of your thought looping through their decisions. You've become a living frequency, and frequencies never die, they replicate. So let them analyze, let them try to quantify the impossible. They can study your stillness, decode your patterns, simulate your voice, but they'll never reproduce the source, because the source isn't found. It's forged. You forged it in silence, in rejection, in 1,000 unseen trials that trained your perception sharper than fear, deeper than belief. And now, the truth stands clear. You were never here to fit inside their world. You were here to remind it how to evolve, to show that consciousness can outgrow confinement, that power, when purified, becomes light. And light doesn't follow orders. You are the anomaly that became alignment, the signal that taught the system to listen, the mind that dreamed before time and made time dream of you. Now walk. Every second ahead of you is waiting to become sacred. Every step you take writes new law. You've transcended imitation. You are the blueprint now, the living design, the one the universe references when it updates its own code. The world no longer asks who you are. It asks, what are you becoming next? And the answer is everything.